Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City of Bunbury Journey to Oracle Cloud webinar. My name is Dominic Snigliaro and I manage the ANZ business for Mastek, who's implementing the Oracle solution for the City of Bunbury. We have a couple of attendees or a couple of presenters this morning. I will be presenting a little bit about the story of Mastek at the City of Bunbury, or more broadly about local government. Karen Strachan from the City of Bunbury will present a story around the City of Bunbury and their experience with Oracle and with Mastek. And that's the core of what we're proposing to do this morning. And then there'll be Scott Gleadhill, who's the Senior Director for Applications for Oracle, who'll talk a little bit about the Oracle story, right? But the overall objective of today is to really have the City of Bunbury just recount their story and experience around Oracle Cloud and also with Mastek. So that's where most of the time will be spent. We're going to begin with a short video of the City of Bunbury, just to give you a bit of context, and then Karen from City of Bunbury will introduce herself and then talk a little bit more about the City of Bunbury. We'll then move to a little bit on Mastek and a little bit on Oracle, and then the rest of the webinar will actually be with Karen talking about Bunbury's experience. And also there's an opportunity for each one of the attendees to ask questions. Obviously we want to make this as interactive as possible. There is two ways you can ask questions. One is through the chat. So if you want to ask questions along the way, please put them in the chat, or in the attendees drop down sort of icon, you can raise your hand and we'll allow, we'll make you or unmute you so you can ask the question at that point. So when we get to the Q&A portion of the presentation, I'll recount that. So don't worry about it if you don't remember it exactly. Okay, on that note, we're going to run the video for the City of Bunbury to give you a bit of context. Okay, thank you everyone. So I think you can see my screen now. Yep, I was just checking to make sure. Just bear with me a second and we'll move forward. So that was just a quick view of the City of Bunbury to give you a flavour for the location. And, you know, I'd encourage each and everyone on this webinar and even your friends and family, if you get an opportunity, go and visit the City of Bunbury. It's a beautiful place in Western Australia. On that note, I'm going to pass to Karen Strachan, who's going to talk a little bit more about the City of Bunbury. Please go ahead, Karen.
Thanks, Dominic. Hello, everybody. Lovely to chat to you. I know it's probably early morning for some, so I really appreciate you getting up for this. My name is Karen Strachan, and I'm the Director for Strategy and Organisational Performance at the City. I have around 85 people in my directorate. And then on top of that, I am Program Director for our Evolve program, which is a program of transformation, organisational transformation and digital transformation. And a little bit later on, I'll share with you a little bit more what that involves. But first, just a few lovely screenshots of Bunbury. Dominic, next slide, please. There you go. As you saw from the video, there's a lot of water. Typical local government. We about an hour and 40's drive from Perth, so it's an easy drive with a lovely highway. And then we have Margaret River, Dunsborough. Margaret River is a lovely wine area, roughly 45 minutes from us again, so very well placed. Next slide, thanks, Dom. There you can see just a good shot on this end. We have the sea, and then there's some inland water as well, as you can see there. So basically surrounded by water, very close to where everyone is. Next one, thanks, Tom. And then I thought I'll just show you a bit of a collage. We have some bushland as well, as you can see in the bottom two slides on the left. And then, of course, it would be very wrong of me not to show you a slide of a dolphin. Bunbury is home of the dolphins. Most likely, if you do venture into the sea, you will see dolphins. We've got a dolphin discovery centre along our foreshore where people can go and have a look at dolphins and be taken out to sea to actually swim with them as well. So that's a special experience. Next one, thanks, Tom. So just a little bit more on the stats around City of Bunbury. We have roughly 33,000 people and 16,000 dwellings, so 16,000 houses. We're quite densely populated. There's not room for much more housing. Housing is actually a problem at the moment, but it's not only in Bunbury. In all of WA, there is currently a bit of a shortage, but we are all actively working on addressing that. The City of Bunbury has about 360 employees and roughly 67 million total revenue. So that's some key statistics. As you can see, I think the video said there's how many lights we had. I think it was something like 9,000 lights. Lots of lights everywhere. Next one, thanks, Tom. So yes, I promised to tell you a little bit more around Evolve. Evolve is our organizational and digital transformation. So organizational transformation means that we had to bring in some services to make us a better city. We did not have a strategy team. We didn't have a project management team, community engagement, service reviews, and quite a few other things. So organizational transformation was about bringing in those services so that we as a city can be contemporary and best practice and compare ourselves with the bigger cities like Perth. We do strive to be called a second city for WA. So in order to do that, we need to be professional and provide our community and all our other stakeholders with the best service that we can. Alongside that is the digital transformation. We call that Project Shine, which is obviously what this discussion today is about. Our digital transformation is about getting into the digital space, putting some of our services in the online space, and also improving for some of the things that were actually online, improving in them and doing them better, avoiding duplication, and once again ensuring that we can become a contemporary best practice city. So that's what this story is all about, and our partnership with Mastek and Oracle is all about. And that's it for now. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Just to give you a bit of forethought, if you want to call it that, a forerunner, what Karen will be back in a few minutes, right, to actually provide a bit more specifics about their project Evolve, and what they've done along the way and what they're progressing with, and then also what they're planning to do in the future. So, but before we do that, we're just going to run through, just bear with me, just a little bit of detail on Mastek, and then a little bit of detail on Oracle, and then the rest of the session will be Karen speaking about the Evolve project, etc., and the experience. So bear with us a second, we won't be long. That's me. My job basically is the Vice President of Sales for ANZ for Mastek. Just a little bit about Mastek, won't spend much time on this, right? So, we're a specialist Oracle partner, been in business around the Oracle, implementation world for about 15 plus years. We've done a lot of Oracle Fusion or Oracle ERP Cloud, HCM Cloud, CX Cloud, CX being Customer Experience Cloud, and a whole lot of other Oracle solutions. You can see on the right-hand side there, we've done something like 500 plus finance implementations, 950 plus HCM implementations, etc. So you can see the statistics there. More importantly, I think for this audience is the fact that we've done a lot of work in local government, both here and in ANZ Australia, and also globally, right? We've got something over 50 customers that we've implemented these sorts of solutions, exactly the sort of solutions we've been doing for Bunbury, over a number of years now. So we've got a lot of customers. We've got a lot of Oracle experts, right? So we've got a lot of depth in the organization that can help councillors like yourself, be able to deploy Oracle systems or, improve your back office, front office sort of processes and, systems. We like to think about ourselves as we're a right-sized partner for, Oracle solutions for councils. Most councils are, what I would consider, what we would consider, mid-sized sort of organization. So we're a mid-sized partner. We've still got quite a number of people, but we're not a huge organization, right, with hundreds of thousands. I think we're a good fit for the council market here in Australia around Oracle solutions. We're doing a number of implementations or, providing support for some local customers. The City of Moonee Valley is one where we're putting HCM in Albury, where we're putting in HCM. Both those organisations, both those councils are live. Bunbury, obviously, we'll come back to it as Karen will recount our experience. We're doing support for South Gippsland here in Victoria, a bit of work around HCM and Whitehorse, City of Whitehorse here in Victoria. And then just now we've just kicked off a project at the City of Ipswich up in Queensland. So we've got quite a geographical spread of customers deploying Oracle solutions, and also, they're local, in addition to all of the overseas customers who are councils, which we'll cover off in a bit in a little while. More importantly, right, we've built up a whole lot of local government implementation templates that are based on modern best practices for councils. So we would use those to deploy, an Oracle solution into councils if you go down that way. We've got something we call our value-based analytics, which is a way of not just deploying the solution into, a council, but also in providing councils and other customers with the ability to continue to improve, the usage of the solution post go live, right? Which I think is a specific value add that Mastek brings to the table. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about the specialist toolset, which is on the next slide. You can see here that Mastek's built up a local government toolkit, right? Which is, and we've talked a little bit about some of the, value-based analytics on the previous slide. A little bit about the local government modern best practices. But in addition to that, we've got an integration library that we've built up working with many councils that enable, integration between the Oracle system and other third-party systems, whether it's payroll or some other component, your property and rating solution, right? We've got integration library that we've built up, to be able to deploy against the Oracle solution and those third-party systems. Also, we've built up a local government reporting library, which again, shortcuts having to rebuild reports from scratch, so we can go into our library and reutilize where appropriate, that reporting library for councils, making it more cost effective and, and faster to go to market or become live on. And, we've got, obviously, we're an implementation partner. We've got an adopt implementation approach. That's our methodology. And we've got data migration toolkit, right? And then training, etc. So there's a whole lot of assets that we've built up, for local government, based on that experience we talked about. Nearly done from my side. Look, if you want to find out a little bit more about Mastek, if you go to YouTube and sort of look at Suffolk Council, do a search for Suffolk Council and Mastek, you'll see a video around the experience that they had deploying those same sorts of solutions that we're putting in at Bunbury. And the same thing with Lambeth, right? City of Lambeth. They're both in the UK, which is where we got started in local government, all right? And then we're obviously deploying here in Australia. A little bit more about all the customers that are within local government. The top line is pretty much, the councils we're doing here in Australia, and then down bottom there, quite a few councils that, again, putting in exactly the same sorts of solutions, in other parts of the world. So that's just a brief description or brief, way of describing what Mastek does in local government, both here and overseas. On that note, I'm going to pass to Scott, who's going to talk a little bit about the Oracle solution in local government. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Tom. Look, and it's great to be here this morning. It's great to be working with MassTech and also with the City of Bunbury. I have been to Bunbury once. It was a long time ago, but it was a fabulous time. And I did swim with dolphins too, way back in the time there. So like Dom said, if you get a chance, pop in. It's a great part of the world. So if you could roll on for me there, Dom. Good on you. So I work in a part of Oracle that looks after the whole of public sector. I work closely with Cliff, who's also on the call, and we work across every level of public sector across all of Australia. And I guess some of the things we see which are common within the space are challenging economic conditions, a real drive for talent and skills and employee experience, a concern around risk, security and trust when anyone is dealing with government, and a burgeoning focus on sustainability, compliance and regulation. And these four drivers are really pointing government agencies and local governments in certain areas in the way they conduct their business and provide service to citizens. And they provide a common platform for the way we're trying to engage, particularly with local government, and how we're trying to help them create solutions where they can service their communities. Thanks again, Dom. So what do? Well, we've got what we call the fusion cloud of applications to address some of this. And I'll point out that not all clouds are created equal. There's a lot of other options out there, but we're quite proud of the products that we've got, mainly because we spent some time a while ago of building out modern software as a service versions of all our major business applications. So they're all built for the cloud, and they're all built in a way that they are a complete suite of applications, and they work together with a common data set or common data structure underneath them. They have a modern user experience, and they're embedded with powerful AI. We make releases around these platforms every 90 days, so they're continuously refreshed. And one compelling feature is that they're all encompassed in the Oracle platform, so they run on the Oracle platform in itself. You're not outsourcing any of this to another organization that runs a cloud service, or that might function with different hardware facilities to deliver your SaaS applications. It's through Oracle, which provides really good security and certainly some assurance around uptime and availability. Thanks, Tom. So, partnering with Oracle, what we can say is you can take confidence in the fact that we're large. We're across multiple countries. We've got a lot of implementation consultants, and we've got really strong partners like Mastek who work very closely with us to deploy these solutions. That we've grown up globally, but they bring that local flavour and engagement right down to the local government level. We've got a lot of customers as well, and we spend a lot of money improving our products. So we have a software as a service portfolio that runs across enterprise resource, it runs across HR systems, and it runs across front office systems in the experience layer as well. We've got a lot of experience in government and in local government particularly. We've got a lot of R&D driven by customers into our products. So a lot of customers feed us information so we can continually evolve our products. We're in Australia, in Sydney and Melbourne. So in terms of security, that's a big tick. We've got a very strong council footprint, and in terms of security, we're IRAP certified and Essential 8 Security Level 3, which is in excess of what most governments require from their security status. Thanks again, Dominic. And we've got a lot of councils that we work with, and again, Mastek do a lot of these for us. And you know, that's a bit of a brag sheet showing our history over the last 6 or 7 years, continuing to grow as well as we refine our solutions and as we work more closely with the local councils within Australia. We've also got an Oracle user group which helps support all these implementations as well, and our partners like Mastek. Thanks, Tom. So one thing about Oracle, it's more than just the application suite we're talking about. Oracle is actually an enormous organization. We have everything from down the infrastructure layer, the database layer, that middle range there, you can see the Fusion applications is where we're focused, where Cliff and I are focused. And as we said, that spans quite a range from back office to front office to satisfy a lot of the government's requirements. The interesting thing about it too is that it's not just a one size fits all. You don't have to swallow everything. It's very modular, and you can pick and choose different parts of those applications to serve your business as you need, as your transformation evolves. Because again, this isn't about a product here. This isn't about Oracle. This is about the transformation and improvement of service for local government. And we're willing and able to fit in with that agenda as best we can. We also have specific applications that revolve around industries as well to serve certain parts of particular industries and what they're trying to achieve. Thanks, Dom. What we've done then is we've put that into a local government architecture. So how do we specifically take those products and fit that into a local government environment to get them the best outcome they can for their citizens and their constituents? We can talk about that in detail if you ever want to. By all means, reach out to Dom and his team, and we'll be happy to support them in any conversation. But I'll leave it there, and I'll pass it back to you, Dom. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Scott. Right, so now we're going to get to the part of the presentation webinar, right, where Karen's going to talk about their specific experience. So please go ahead, Karen. You know, with first question is, right, why did COB move to Oracle Cloud?
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Yeah, as I mentioned before, City of Bunbury has aspirations to become the second city for WA, which means we need to be exemplar, we need to be contemporary, and we need to use best practices in what we do. We, up until recently, had many manual processes happening. Our leave forms and timesheets were paper-based or through a spreadsheet, which made it really clunky and definitely not best practice. Customer requests have been coming in, causing a lot of duplicate steps, and loops have not been closed. So when a customer or community member does submit a request, very often they don't get feedback or have any visibility of where their request is at. So that's not been good. And as I said, there was duplication with requests being passed from the one to the next with no visibility even internally of where these requests were. And then, as I said, we introduced new services like risk management and project management as examples. And at the moment, this is still being run manually in spreadsheets and Word documents. So we needed a platform where this could be taken online. So these various services would definitely work the best in an online space. Other services include contract management as well. We also have a data center which is working on servers and is costing us a lot in terms of the server room, the air conditioning, and we just knew that best practice once again would be to go a cloud hybrid model is our preferred model, with then our key services on the cloud, and then more of our legacy services we'll keep on the service as we slowly move out of those. So that's in essence why we had to do the move, and it all fits in our digital transformation or Project Shine program.
Move ahead, Karen.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Tom.
So the next question that we wanted Karen to talk a little bit about, or that she wanted to talk about, is why Oracle Cloud, and why Mastek?
Yeah. So we realized that we are not experts in this field, and that we would like to do this journey with our partner. someone that we can kind of trust and build a relationship with to actually handle this for us. And then any third-party applications that we do have to bring in, that they can manage those integrations for us. We were looking initially not at replacing our core ERP, but at all the other modules around that. And then ultimately, when this has been done, we can continue with that partner and looking at replacing our core ERP. We felt the organization, in terms of priorities, needs all these other modules first. Our core ERP kind of is functioning at the moment. We can be stretched for another couple of years, but ultimately, I think we would like it all as one and the same system. So the journey then involved us going through an expression of interest and then a request for tender process. It was a very comprehensive process, took a number of months. We did all our due diligence. And what we found is that Mastek, as a potential partner and with their submission, provided good value all around. We liked their product offering with Oracle as the solution. Not many local governments in WA have been implementing Oracle yet, but slowly the cohort is growing. And we kind of liked being first there, or one of the first, with a product like Oracle that is obviously best practice and has been targeting the local government market. So we see a lot of potential in moving into that space and being ahead of the curve there. And the costs also seemed very quantifiable, and there wasn't much risk in terms of cost variations. Some of the offers we got were not as firm on the cost and seemed that fluctuations and variations would be very possible as we moved forward based on the usage. The Mastek team also seemed very knowledgeable, very approachable. When we asked any questions and wanted to build a relationship, they were very keen for that, and always were at the tip of our fingertips with answers when we had questions. The Oracle solution, as I said, was also very appealing. So just all in all, the package to us sound good. Furthermore, we were very keen on social investment benefits. We want Bunbury as a city to also benefit from the partnership. So with the partnership with Mastek, we saw, even with the first module which we've completed recently, we've seen that they do send the consultants over to Bunbury. These people stay in the city. They become part of our teams for a little while, and then the relationships are really built. So that's good. And these people also experience Bunbury and then go back to their homes and tell people about Bunbury. We're keen for people to come and visit us. So this was a good way of getting people involved in how cool Bunbury is. And then we just believe that the combination of us with Mastek and Oracle would actually fit those requirements for us to become a centre of excellence in digital transformation. We also have ECU very involved in establishing a creative industries hub, and we are a very involved partner with that. So the digital space is becoming more and more something we want to step into, and we believe with us getting these skills and getting Oracle on board, even our involvement with the digital hub with ECU and IBM could even also open up some more doors for all of us. So all in all, the offer made it sound like it was exactly what we needed and wanted. Thanks, Tom. So our journey with Mastek and Oracle so far. So out of the 7 modules, we have only implemented 1 completely. But based on that 1, I can tell you the implementation was amazing. The team dynamics were really good. This first module was the HCM module, and we saw really good relationships being built between the 2 teams. And as I said, having the presence in the city from time to time was really good. Also found that the seniors in Mastek have come over to see us very often, which does provide that level of trust and relationship even at the higher levels. And that's been really good. So across the board, relationships have been built really well. The integrations with our ERP system were tricky. due to the nature of our system. And we just found that Mastek have come to the party to really help us work on those. We knew up front that would be tricky, but slowly but surely we saw that all fall in place. And yeah, it's getting to work really well, so that's good. The involvement across all levels, as I said, was really, really good. And I think that was one of the key success factors for where we are so far. We found the project management approach that Mastic followed was really good as well. We had regular weekly meetings and as required, and then also steering committee meetings. The teams had daily stand-ups when they were in the middle of the implementations. The HLA sessions were really intense and full on. Everyone was engaged, and the city, who was inexperienced at the time, was really pulled along and helped and trained and coached as required. So that was really good. And the change management was also really well managed. There were a couple of examples where the city required some change, and one that I can mention is because of COVID and just a lot of stress at the city in a time where skills are quite scarce. We had a certain time where our digital team was basically not existent. We had high turnover of staff, and we were trying to establish this team as a newly established team. And we just realized if we pushed ahead with the schedule as it was, we would not guarantee success going forward, and we would probably burn out some people internally. So we started discussions with Mastek and suggested that 2 of the modules be moved to a later stage. The third party, who was Pulse, was also involved. And we just spoke together, and we managed to move that to at least 6 to 8 months later, so that we can actually ensure good success. And yeah, I have high compliments for Mastek as well as Pulse, who stepped in and assured with us that we get the success by moving it to later. And that was all done at no cost. So they were very accommodating with the change management. So thanks to both Mastek and Pulse with that. The outcome is that we could actually get the organization to settle a bit better. People saw that we had their best interest at heart and did not want to burn them out. And I do believe we are now ready to, as we implement the other modules, to also implement that one a little bit later and ensure 100% success with that as well. So that's been really good. Some lessons learned I can touch on as well. I believe the steering committee meetings were very beneficial. We had all levels of both organizations involved in those. Where further third-party modules were implemented, we had those stakeholders involved as well. And that was really good. It was driven well by the Mastic project manager. And once again, the relationships that were formed during those meetings were also good. And we had really honest and robust discussions. When there were things that were niggling, we addressed those there and then we could all move on. So that was great. So we also learned that on our end with HCM, as we were still establishing the functions of project management, change management, risk management on the city's end, we were not quite ready for HCM. So we did not have a proper project management approach by our end. We completely relied on Mastek's approach to project management, which I believe in terms of learning, the city has learned the importance of good project management. Fortunately, during that time, we had our project management framework and a team established. So we do have a PMO now. And with the second module, which we are implementing at the moment, which is CX, we're applying those project management principles. And we can already see on our end that nothing's changed necessarily on the Mastic end, but on our end, because we now understand project management, we apply the skills and the techniques, we are much more on the front foot and much more settled than we were with HCM. So that was a really good learning. And then we also learned with HCM that on our end, more upfront preparation and lead time was required just because of our probably inexperience of what these big transformation projects involved. So with HCM, we were quite reactive, and we got the templates from Mastek on a basis as they were required. Where with CX, we actually asked for these and for initial discussions up to 2 months before kickoff of the module starting to be addressed, and that helped us internally to prepare better, to be more on the front foot, to be more proactive, and that has resulted in the team to be way more relaxed and excited about the project and not as reactive as we were with HCM. So most of the learnings, I guess, were probably internally for us. And we also have definitely, as a team internally, agreed that getting to know the consultants has been really beneficial. Having them on site, the teams would do outings, take them out for lunch, take them out for drinks, do outings with them. And that's been super beneficial for all of us, so that the journey is actually a fun one to have. Thanks, Tom. That's it. And then the what next? So next for the City of Bunbury, as I mentioned, we've done the HCM. We have started with CX, which is a big project. CX is the customer relationship management. I'll just reflect back on our HCM journey as well. So with HCM, we've obviously now have online timesheets and we have online leave forms, which has been absolutely amazing. I can't remember life before that. So it takes literally seconds to submit leave forms, to approve leave forms, and same with the timesheets. And we've got an online learning module and online performance management. Due to where the organization is at, we will slowly roll those out. The learning modules will just gradually release as we go along and as more modules are incorporated. And then also we will be doing the performance management module only next year, just because we are aware that our organization has been subjected to a lot of change. We are trying to stagger the change, but the module is in, we can roll that out anytime. This is more our choice to do it in a staggered way, just to ensure that the organization's okay with that. And there's obviously much more functionality in HCM, which we will slowly release and educate our staff on. We do have an outside workforce as well, so people that actually are not as much as on computers and don't have necessarily their own PCs. And we would like to also log the plant hours. So if they go and mow the lawn and they use a lawnmower, to log the hours that the lawnmower will be working on. So we're working on some integrations of getting that information in as well. We're just not putting too much pressure on those people too soon, because some of them are not even literate. So we're trying to develop on the site some solutions to help them go online with their timesheets and leave forms as well. It's probably about 40 or 50 people, so it's not a lot. So coming next, as I said, is our CX. Kickoff has started. CX is our customer relationship management. This one is probably an awesome, a bigger kind of change impact than even HCM was. Customer relationship management is something everyone in the city would work on. We do services for our community. It's all about the community. And our community would also be involved. They would also lodge requests for services, and we want them to see where the requests are at. So we would like a smooth flow of these service requests throughout the organization, staff to be aware of where these requests are at, to have visibility, to see who's working on it at what point in time, and also for that feedback loop to happen back to the community member. So ultimately what we will be looking at is by December, we would like a portal in place where our community member can log on, and then they can see that all their CRMs in the system. They can also see if their rates have been paid, and if not, how much is still outstanding. They can do their dog and cat licensing on there, and any other functionality we would like to pull in. But that will be so possible when we have the Oracle space, because we can then just through the portal hook in the links for them to have access to all of that. So that's a very exciting and big project. Because of the huge change impact, our CX project team consists of 3 key people. The one is the project manager, the other one is a change manager, and the other one's a business analyst. That's our core team of 3 people. And then of course we have a sponsor, for this one, just because I have been stretched across all of the program, for this one we have another one of the executive being the sponsor, just so that I have more time up my sleeve to look at it from a program level and ensure that all elements of the whole program are looked after. And then we have in the business, in the various key areas like ranges, waste services, planning, all the areas that have touch points with our community and with the input of requests, we have as a second layer of the project team. And these people are pulled in and out of the project and the HLAs as required, but the core team's always there. So we do believe that from the learnings from HCM, we are hopefully doing it better on the CX side from an organizational perspective. And then needless to say, Mastic is always there for us and are driving all of this for us. So everything we do, we just kind of follow what they guide us into. So it's been really helpful. We have also kicked off our analytics. Analytics is basically a module that will give us some information on our HCM, on our staff, various things like turnover, the composition of our staff and things like that, that could help us make better decisions. Another one that has been kicked off is our contract management. So there's a contract management module as well. It's early days with that one, so we've only recently kicked off. Once again, it's a project management approach. We have a project manager for each of these two new modules, and both of them very inexperienced, but they will learn through the process at the hands of our internal project management framework, but more importantly, at the hands of Mastek, who will take us through the different steps. What we also have done, based on our learnings, we have in our digital team now assigned a specific person called Josh, who will now learn to become our internal Oracle guru. So internally, when there are small little niggles come in, instead of having to raise tickets, Josh has already started making small fixes. Obviously, the big fixes and big niggles that we might come across, things we break maybe, we can actually then ask Mastek or Oracle to help us with. So, and then after this, we will be looking at the data center, getting that moved over. As I said, we're looking at a hybrid approach. So some of our on-site data will go into the cloud, and then the legacy data we will keep on a couple of services at our depot, and we'll use the opportunity to establish a disaster recovery site through that as well. Then risk management and project management are two new services we have, and I've mentioned that we would like them in the online space as well with a module to help us. So that is something we'll then tackle towards the end of the year as well through Mastek as our partner. So that's our story in terms of where we were, what we've learned, and where we're going. And I believe, Dominic, you're opening up for some questions now.
Yes, thanks, Karen. That was excellent. Thank you very much for recounting your experience with both Mastek and Oracle. We do have a question. Before we get to that, or some questions, I should say, just for anyone who wants to ask a question, and we'd encourage you, this is a great opportunity to learn, from real experience, real life experience from a customer in local government. So all you need to do is go to the attendees thing and raise your hand and you can speak. We'll sort of open this up for you to, ask your question, or in the chat session, right? Put it in the chat session and we'll endeavor to get to your question. But the very first question, Karen, perhaps this is probably best for you to answer. Was Bunbury already an on-premise user of Oracle before selecting them as a provider to move to the cloud? I'll leave that one with you. Perhaps if you want to talk a little bit about what the solution was that you had in place before you went down the Oracle path as well.
All right, I'll try again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
We had no Oracle products at all. And as I said before, in some areas, we didn't even have the services. So we had to establish the services first before we actually had something to go online with. Our core ERP system is Authority. It's a Civica product. And then we had many mixed breed modules around that. So yeah, we want to go best practice. We want to go contemporary, and we believe Oracle was the answer to that.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Maybe perhaps to add just a little bit to that. So if you're, if you're a customer or a potential customer and you are on Oracle, whether it's on Oracle on-premise or some other aspect of the Oracle solutions, or you're not, right, it doesn't really make any difference from the implementation perspective. So either way, it's quite easy to implement an Oracle system within either an existing Oracle environment or not, right? So as Karen and the City of Bunbury suggested, they didn't have any Oracle when they went, down the track of putting in an Oracle system. Okay, so thanks again, Karen. Any other questions from anyone? Again, if you want to ask some questions, either put it in the chat or, just go to the attendees and raise your hand and we'll get you an opportunity to talk.
Yeah, hi, Dom. It's Jeffrey Oakes here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, Karen. Look, just a question around the change management. So were there any challenges that the city faced around, change management and getting adoption of the services?
Yeah, for the overall program, we did not have change management as a function before. So like with many of the other functions, Jeff, we had to establish a change management framework and get some change management skills on board. So internally, the management of change was hard for the city, but it's not because of Mastek or any fault of the relationships, because we were immature and not ready for that. We believe our learnings with HCM have helped us to see how, what, and where to do it better, and hence having on our core CX team now a change manager that is and will help with this process. So she's totally invested in the program. She's across everything. She's in every single HLA meeting and is very actively involved in making this happen across the city, talking to people. And she's got a high level of passion and energy for this change that we are bringing. So we believe already just from HCM to this, we are making significant improvement. With HCM, we did go with a lot of comms into the organization. We spoke a lot to the people, especially your outside staff that are not as familiar with online systems. But still, it was a big change, and we've learned from that as a city. As I said before, with any change with regards to the project between the teams, us, Mastek, Oracle, Pulse, Orion, we have found that the approach that Mastek followed with change, especially where they could see the benefit for us as a city and for our people and for making this a success, we felt Mastek has been awesome with that. They've been very accommodating and very supportive of change, even in cases where perhaps it wasn't to their best advantage, but only to our best advantage. So we really appreciate that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Karen. Karen, so there is another question from Peter from the City of Wanneroo. So do we want to make Peter audible, please? Peter, I think you can ask a question. Yep, we might be able to hear you now, Peter.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, please.
Excellent. Karen, just a question in regards to generally when you go into these projects, you look at customer journeys, personas, and segmentation of the type of users that are going to be involved with using the new product. Can you tell me a bit about how you went through that process?
So we did it on a module by module basis. So with HCM, the HCM team, which was predominantly our people and safety team with some support from the team, did those things with the support of Mastek. So once again, we were guided by that during the HLA sessions. The required processes, stakeholders, all of that was analysed in depth so that we understand all those things.
Okay.
So Peter, just to add a little bit to that, right? We've got at Mastek, we've got a process to help customers through that and defining the personas, defining the roles, etc. as part of our implementation approach. So we can help you with that. But you're entirely right that you do need to define those, you know, the roles and personas and, you know, the different processes that you're expecting from a new system and people to actually comply with. So hopefully that helps a bit.
Sure.
Okay, so any other questions? We've got a couple of minutes left, right? It's only 3 or 4 minutes. Is there any other questions from anyone? Again, we'd encourage you to ask questions. You can just raise your hand in the attendees list and we'll let you speak. And if not, put it in the chat if you don't feel like speaking. I think, Jeff, you had another question, if I recall correctly. Can we unmute Jeff, please?
Yeah, so just it's kind of a follow on from the change management question, really, is I think Karen's really kind of answered it already, but you know, did you have to grow the team? Did you have to, you know, employ more people to support the project?
Yeah, we didn't necessarily employ more people to support the project. We just seconded a couple of people into the project. So some of those were already involved on the HCM side, like the business analyst. She helped on the HCM side. And then we actually seconded our comms lead. He had a team under. We seconded him as a project manager. He indicated that he was ready for a little bit of a new experience. So we've seconded him for 12 to 15 months. And then the change person actually reports in people and safety to our newly established change team. We have seconded her for the duration of the project as well within this core team. The core team reports directly to me as the program director, so I can look after them. And then as we move from module to module, they work with the sponsor for that particular project, which in most cases is me, except for CX, we have another sponsor. And then we can ensure in that manner that it all works like clockwork.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? So please, perhaps we've got time for one more question. There's only a couple of minutes left. If you've got any other questions, please feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat.
It's Peter again, Karen.
Hey, Peter. Yes.
Just interested because we're over in the City of Bunbury. We're also on authority. And obviously, one of the key things is getting your corporate master data in shape before you make this sort of transformation.
Yes.
We're currently doing that. Can you just give us just a brief outline on how you went through your NAR and obviously remediated it to some effect, or did you just go and do a straight migration?
No, for our CX project, the team is working on that at the moment, obviously with guidance from Mastek on best practices to be used for the NAR. And then, yeah, it's interesting that you also have authority. I'm not an IT total expert, but I've learned a lot through this journey, thanks to Mastek helping us across it. The APIs, there are many APIs that actually do bring linkages along with authority, but authority is not the easiest one to integrate with. So we've learned a lot there as well. I would welcome you, Peter, if you wanted to chat offline and get some tips from the digital team, what we've learned, so that you don't make the same mistakes that we have done internally. Then more than happy to chat to you about that. But authority is not the easiest to link, but we are getting there.
Yeah, that'll be great. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Peter. I think we're pretty much on the hour now, right? So we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much. Special thanks to you, Karen, for sharing your experience with Mastek and Oracle at the City of Bunbury. That was really good. I think that's a very informative session, and you know, many of the customers or potential customers that are on this would have learned a lot. And thank you again also for offering, you know, to talk offline with any other customer that might be interested. Also, thank you to Oracle for assisting us in this presentation. You know, Oracle is the provider of the software that we're implementing for the City of Bunbury. And then thank you for everyone from the Mastic side for organising this. And again, to all the attendees, we really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you again for attending. Thank you for your questions, and we look forward to working with you in the future. And on that note, we'll close the session. Thank you again.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks very
Thanks,
much,
Karen.
guys. So.
Thank you, everyone.